I had polymer clay over there because I was going to be doing some of my own stuff. So I had no idea what my role in Nepal would be. Malcolm had a job, and I thought, oh, well, worst comes to worst, I can sit in my room and, do all the polymer clay I've been wanting to do all my life. And I met Copula through friends, the lady who is the program coordinator, and she saw what I did and she said, oh, can you teach that to the ladies? And I said, no, absolutely not. I said, so many Westerners come to Nepal and they do things that aren't sustainable and blah, blah, blah. Why would I bring polymer clay? We can't get it. And she said, oh, these are very good points. This is good. What can you teach the ladies? And I said, oh, well, maybe we could do some, beading or, using materials that are there. So I went over there and we made all these wonderful beaded necklaces using the wedding beads and put them together very creatively and took them to a fair trade organisation in Kathmandu, and they said, look, everyone does that. It's just, we can't sell that. Everyone does that. What's that on your neck? And I said, oh, this? They said, we can sell that. And it was a polymer clay pendant, and Copula's going, see, I told you. so they said, well, it would be really good if you could teach the ladies something that's very different, because the Kathmandu market was flooded with felt and paintings and all those sorts of things. And I said, oh, but, it's hard to order, and lots of, all the objections came up. And then I just sort of did a bit of talking to myself, I suppose, and thought, well, why not give it a go? What's the worst thing that can happen? Even if we just, sell a few things back in Australia, we've tried, and the ladies. So we really had a big think about it and thought, well, we'll see what happens. We'll give ourselves 12 months and see what happens. And then it just really, I don't know, things just fell into place, and we thought, well, it's kind of looking like it might work. The clay, people were bringing clay over, and, the ladies just loved it. And I thought, well, even if they're just having some really happy times, that's okay too. It doesn't, I think I had set myself this amazing standard of, you have to be running the perfect, sustainable, endlessly successful project, and I'd read all about them, and then I thought, well, if I try and do that, I won't do anything. And so I just thought, well, let's just start maybe having some fun and laughing, and so we did that, and then it kind of went on from there. In the back of my mind, I said, oh, well, we can just get it donated and it can be a sort of a feel-good thing. But we've never had to do that. They've really covered all their costs the whole time and got their wages. But, yeah, just comments like, we feel like we are artists and we're not just victims. And you could see their pride in themselves just blossom, and eventually people would come into the office, which originally was on the highway. It was this horrible, like a garage really, and people would come in and all look at me and say, oh, you've made these, and I'd say, no, I didn't make any of these things, the ladies have made everything. And it was, these women, some of them were untouchable women. How did they do this? And, I just sort of would vanish, and then they could explain. In Nepal, it's very difficult for a woman to go back to her own family. They generally haven't got the resources to look after them, and there's a lot of stigma. So what we've found is sort of almost on a mercenary level, if the daughter can go back to the family and say, well, yes, I'm leaving my husband because he's beating me, but I'm earning an income doing X, Y, Z, then the family are able to be a little more supportive because they know that it's not going to be a burden. We've just found that even if she's got a bit of a skill, it doesn't have to be earning a full-time living, but even if she's just earning something, she's more able to go back to her family and get the support. And if she's an artist, if she's doing the polymer clay, unfortunately, if she's doing it with that Westerner, that also adds a bit of kudos as well. We've had lovely stories where families who originally were very hostile about the whole thing actually then tell other women in the village who are being beaten that, you don't have to put up with that. You can go back to your family, so there's sort of that ripple on effect.